Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Legacy Farm, the podcast. This is your host, JC Young, and today's topic of discussion is this: profits are found in efficiency, not chaos. So, my friends, when you look at your operation today or your business, I don't care if you're running a farm operation, cattle operation, if you sell seed, if you're in any type of sales business within the ag industry, it does not matter. When you look at your business, what do you ultimately see? Do you see chaos, or do you see efficiency, or an efficient, well-oiled machine that operates smoothly on a day-to-day basis, whether you're there or not? Now, for a majority of you, it's going to be chaos, guys. We brought in more than 300 members into Legacy Farmer. I know for a majority of you, it's going to be chaotic. There's going to be no systems, no processes, or anything in place. And eventually that leaves all business owners in one place, which is burnout. Right? You feel constantly over and over, year after year, like you're just continuing to spin your wheels, never gaining any ground truly. And the thing is, guys, as we all get into business, we want to take over the family farm operation or the family business strictly because, one, we want to be able to carry it on, right? We feel like we have an obligation to do that. But two, if you're a business owner, you want to have a certain level of freedom too. I haven't met one farmer or rancher that enjoys working 18 hours a day, 365 days out of the year. Like they don't exist. And if they do, they don't have any family life at home and their marriage is a wreck and all these other things. So we want to have a good balance between both. But I'm going to tell you, my friend, unless you have all of the systems and processes in place to actually run an efficient operation, then you're screwed. It's not going to happen. And I'm not talking about, just having efficiency inside of one part of your operation. I'm talking about having efficiency inside of every area of your operation. So let's talk about business structure, for example. So one thing we focus on inside of Legacy Farmer is business structure or entity structure and design. And for a majority of farmers or ranchers today, when they come into our program, a lot of them have 3 or 4 sources of income: farm, cattle, maybe a custom business, maybe a sales business, whatever that may be. And a lot of them up to this point have been running all of that income through one checking account. Well, and for a lot of them too, that checking account has been like their personal name. And some of them, they may be lucky and have one LLC set up, so they have one business checking account. But what's the problem with that? Well, when you try to do that, there is no possible way for you to actually have clean books. There's literally no way. There's no way that you're going to do that because a lot of you have a ton of transactions. And if you only have one bank account handling multiple sources of income, you're most likely running a lot of personal transactions through there as well. And so, guys, there's no possible way for you to actually know what the overall profitability of each one of your sources of income. So inside of Legacy Farmer, that's one of the first things that we focus on with our members is getting their businesses broken out and structured correctly. So we even have the opportunity to have clean books. And once we have clean books, now we can see what's making money and not making money, which makes it a lot easier for our members to let go of the businesses or move away from the businesses that are taking up 80% of their time, but only making 20% of the profit compared to their entire operation. So having the clean numbers gives me the ability to make sound business decisions based off of hard numbers, not just how I feel about the business, okay? Next thing we move into is just simply banking and loan management, right? A lot of you guys are robbing Peter to pay Paul out of each checking account. You're advancing on your operating loan, and then it's spread across multiple different businesses. You don't know, if your seed business has the loan versus your farm operation or whatever that is, because you may advance on your operating line of credit, and your operating line of credit is technically for your farm, but you're advancing on it to fund your seed business or fund your cattle operation. And there's no way, you have no idea then of knowing who to pay back or how much to pay back and how much each entity is supposed to pay back. Well, when you have things separated out correctly, it's a lot easier to do that. And when you're actually running your bank accounts efficiently and correctly and making sure you're handling your transactions in the correct bank account, it's a lot easier to manage those things, my friend. Like it's a lot cleaner for the bank as well. It's so much more organized and structured. It's just a lot easier to put things together that way. And again, when we have our bank accounts lined up that way, then we actually have the ability to have clean books, right? What a concept. What a concept. Now, the next phase that this actually leads us into, though, is tax strategy. Right. So many farmers or ranchers today, it's January 24th of 2022 at the time when I'm recording this episode. And a lot of you guys are getting to the points where you're in the middle of tax season, right? And tax season for a lot of you hasn't even started yet because we're still waiting on documents to get mailed out until the end of January. And then we kind of start getting all that stuff over to the accountant. But the thing is, guys, like with our members, tax strategy started last year. With me personally in my business, tax strategy started at the end of Q1 in 2021, with a quarterly tax planning meeting. So guys, like that's the difference though, is that when I have clean books, I can actually have a tax game plan way before the year is even over. I knew what my taxable income was going to be, or pretty darn close was going to be at the end of Q3 in 2021. I knew what my taxable income for 2021, what that was already going to be. And it's impossible for me to actually know that number unless I have clean books, unless I'm running clean bank accounts, unless I have clean entity set up, unless I have clean books. I cannot project out what my taxable income is going to be. And instead, this is where a majority of farmers and ranchers are at today. And a lot of them, they may schedule a year-end meeting with their accountant, but they schedule it the first week of December or the second week of December. And then they spend the next 2 to 3 weeks running around trying to figure out, how do I spend 100 or 200 grand here so I don't have to pay taxes into the government? Like, that's not a strategy. That's not a strategy at all. Even for our members, I want them to know at the end of Q3, if we have to spend some money, okay, great. I need to know how much I need to go spend. And now I have 3 months to get that done, not 2 weeks while I'm also trying to get through the holidays with my family. Not very efficient, right? That's not a good system there to have. So it all streams together, guys, from business and entity structure, clear to banking and loan management, clear to bookkeeping and tax strategy, clear to even like cash flow management for each individual entity. Right, in each individual business. Again, this goes back to tracking the numbers and the profitability for each individual business. And now leading into like team management, for example. Okay, team management, if your team is not operating efficiently, guess how much money you're going to make? Well, not very much, because a team that doesn't operate efficiently, guess what they do? They make a shit ton of mistakes over and over and over again, because even inside of team management, if you do not have systems and processes and training in place to make sure your team knows what to do, and you are essentially replacing yourself out of that operation, meaning you have trainings and everything put together so they can go find the answer themselves instead of you answering the same question 10,000 times in 1 year and then getting annoyed with your hired hand and then trying to blame it all on them. No, it's your responsibility, just like it's my responsibility inside of my business. The reason that a lot of our members come in and they have frustrations around hired help and all this type of stuff is, I get that they can have frustrations, but again, take accountability for it. And the reason is because you don't have systems and processes in place to actually give that person that's on your team a real chance to like actually succeed. You have to look at your operation as a whole and the structure you have in place with your team, with your task management system, with everything, and really like truly gauge whether or not you're actually giving them a legit opportunity to succeed. And for a majority of farmers and ranchers, that's not there. They don't have the efficiency there. They don't have the systems and processes. They don't even have an accountability chart and a roles and responsibilities chart so that each person inside of their operation knows what they're supposed to be doing. Right? Everybody comes in here and it's like, hey, you go do this today, you go do that, you go do that, you go do that, you're responsible for this. And then the next day you're responsible for something completely different. Well, inside of that type of environment, one, you're creating a culture where people blame each other. They also make a lot of mistakes because they're not really clear on what they're supposed to be doing, or they're doing so many different things, they've never actually had the time to master one of them. And it just creates this really just culture full of anxiety and stress because you don't have these systems and processes in place. So guys, when I say, the title of this episode was Profits Are Found in Efficiency, Not Chaos. If your operation, from everything that I've talked about today, from business structure to banking and loan management to cash flow management to bookkeeping to tax strategy and tax planning to team management and task management, is in chaos, I'm sorry, but you're inevitably going to fail, or you are going to spend the next two decades of your life really pissed off every day and miserable every single year because you do not have these systems and processes in place to run an efficient operation across the board. And the thing is, with our members inside of Legacy Farmer, we're helping them build out all those systems. Everything from finances to operation management to task management, everything across the board. And once you get all these systems set in place, guess what you automatically gain as a business owner? Some freedom. Like you're able to start handing things off. Without systems, my friend, you will fail. You will not succeed. You will not grow your business into what you want it to turn into. And if you don't fail, like I said, you're going to spend the next 2 decades of your life miserable because you're going to be constantly running on that hamster wheel for 20 years and not gaining anything and not feeling like you're going anywhere and living in the same chaos now as you would be 10 years from now. Like that doesn't have to be your path. It doesn't have to be the path of any business owner in this country. But again, farmers and ranchers, it's where a majority of them are at. And what's been crazy is, bringing in 300 plus members into Legacy Farmer over the past 3 years. Guys, those members also bring in all their problems as well. And we've literally built Legacy Farmer and our entire process here and our entire system around the problems that farmers and ranchers are bringing to us. And it's really sculpted our business in a very, very good way that makes our offer really great here and our system really great here, and it's just extremely valuable because we're handling so many different problems across the industry. Again, you think about business and entity structure, banking and loan management, cash flow management, bookkeeping, tax strategy, tax filing, team management, and task management. And then we get into legacy and estate planning. You see how many areas that we're covering? All of those areas are key problem areas inside of the ag industry because, again, most farmers or ranchers operate in chaos in those areas. And it doesn't have to be you. It doesn't have to be anybody. But you either have to go out and you have to go out and build the system that we've built, or you have a chance like looking into Legacy Farmer and really studying some of our content, listening to old podcasts, watching some of our free trainings on our YouTube page, whatever it may be. But again, you have to decide like what type of life you're going to live over the next 10 years. And again, it's not just business results, guys. Like when you operate in chaos inside of your business, what do you think that says about your family life? What do you think that says about your marriage? Because if you don't have systems inside of your business, guarantee you that you don't have systems inside of any other area of your life, and it bleeds over. And that's not fun. It impacts the people that you care about the most in this world, which is your family at home, who also, by the way, are sacrificing their lives to be there on the farm operation with you as well. So my friend, I hope you took some value from this episode. I hope it made you think a little bit more about your business. And again, I don't care if you look into Legacy Farmer or not. It's great if you do. But the reality is, my friend, like just help yourself. Like help yourself. Look at your business right now. Pick one part of it. Pick one single part of it. Okay, great. On day-to-day operations, is my team clear on their roles and responsibilities? No, they're not. We're operating in chaos. Okay, great. I'm going to spend the next day or the next week going through and just lining up. I'm going to write everybody's name down on a piece of paper. And then I'm going to give them a title. And then within that title, I'm going to list everything that they are responsible for. And then I'm going to revisit this list with my team once a week. So everybody is very clear and I'm ingraining in them what their responsibilities are so everybody is clear. Guys, you will solve so many problems there. One, people are going to stop making as many mistakes as they do. Two, you're getting rid of all the blame and bullshit that happens in operations where guys want to blame each other, or you want to blame them. Three, the amount of clear communication you have inside of your operation is going to 10x because people are clear on their roles and responsibilities. And guys, this isn't from just some theory I'm speaking of. We've implemented this with our members. I've implemented this inside of my own business, and it completely streamlined everything. And it gave people ownership too. You need to understand, like your team, they want ownership over certain things as well. Like we're human beings. We're driven by challenge. We're driven by having responsibility. We're driven by those things. So give your team some responsibility. But you also have to make it very clear on what they're responsible for. You can't just say, "Oh, you're supposed to do this today," or "You're supposed to do that today." You just build a chaotic environment there, and you will never sustain or succeed long term, and you will never keep good team members as well long term because you operate in chaos. So, my friend, you got to really think about those things. So, if that's all you did, I guarantee from this podcast, if that's all you did was just get your team organized and make sure everybody's clear on their roles and responsibilities, and then revisit with them on that once a week for the next year. Think about it. It's only 52 times. You're revisiting it with them, just reminding them, hey, these are your roles and responsibilities. Hey, these are your roles and responsibilities. You are conditioning them, okay? And they are becoming more efficient because of you. So you need to, and if you really want freedom from your business, then you need to seriously think very hard about what you're willing to do to create that freedom. And this process right here, the one simple tool I just gave you, that will start that process. That will start creating some freedom and some accountability and some responsibility across your team, removing some accountability and responsibility from yourself, which is what we all want as business owners. So my friends, hope you found this episode valuable. Hope you take action because of it, and we will catch you on next week's episode.